Hello everyone, this is the final Bosman, and on today... Smells like E3. Welcome to the show. I am Kyle Bosman, and yeah, it is officially E3 season. We're in it. How many final Bosman episodes until E3? Merely 3. So, as is tradition, as was established last year, today's episode will be a breakdown of all of E3's 8 press conferences. Yes, you heard that right. 8. 8 press conferences. I guess they're called press events now. I guess conference is antiquated. We should no longer call it a conference. It is an event. So yes, there's 8 E3 press events to watch. E3 now is practically a Netflix original series. How are you possibly going to watch all of those? Well, I'm here to help. Here's what we're doing this year for our breakdown. I'm going to break down every single event, and then we're going to rate it on the final Bosman. Do I have to watch this-ometer? Basically, this will rank how much you have to watch a thing. From do not watch this to you will die if you do not watch this. Let's get started. First off, a new contender. This is Bethesda, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Pacific. This is June 14th. This is gonna be huge. I think this is gonna be all killer, no filler. I think this is going to be a huge show. Why? Because I think what E3 is a solution to a problem for a marketing team. What I imagine is Bethesda's marketing team was sitting down, looking at their list of huge games and saying, hey, I have a crazy idea. Why don't we just do our own conference? And everyone said, yes, that's a good idea. Obviously, these games are so huge they need their own conference. Because I think, so yeah, there's gonna be a battle cry, that's gonna be a part of this, but also probably Fallout 4. Maybe Doom. Maybe some weird little tease at an Elder Scrolls game. You know, it's gonna be a whole press conference of Bethesda games. You're right, there's no Just Dance of Bethesda. It's gonna be all good, and that is very exciting. It's very exciting to see a hungry developer, hungry publisher, just kind of hit E3. I'm excited, and that's why this gets a rating of crucially imperative. The next morning, traditionally the first day of E3, not anymore, but at 9:30 a.m., Microsoft retains its own time slot and is doing its press conference. This is going to be an exciting year, I believe. Last year I gave Microsoft a hard time because a lot of its game announcements were CG trailers. And I think we've learned throughout the course of this year that maybe those CG trailers were strictly commercial. I think they are, not even tied to the development teams behind those games. Whatever, that won't happen this year. This year we will see games. We're going to see Halo, sure, that'll be there. But we're probably also going to see Gears of War, whatever that's like. You know, we're probably going to see Crackdown. I have a really good feeling, everyone. I have this feeling. Battletoads, we'll see this year. Can you imagine that Battletoads at E3? That's gonna be crazy. So, even with the slimmest chance of seeing what Scalebound actually looks like, what it is actually about, I have to give this press conference a rating of crucially imperative. Soon after that, we have EA at 1 p.m. Pacific. EA, not a lot of people get excited about EA. EA last year was always, number one rule about E3, always be boasting. EA was boasting before E3. EA had a press announcement that said, hey, at our press event, we'll be announcing 6 new games. Look forward to it. Half of those things were conceptual prototypes. And so I think a lot of us felt a little cheated. Why even, EA, don't bother. Why do you do that? This year, again, this is probably a running theme this episode. That can't happen. This year, there will be games. There's gonna be Mass Effect this year. Also, don't even worry about Mass Effect. There's gonna be Star Wars this year. Not just Battlefront, but the possibility of Amy Hennig's Star Wars game. Get out of my house. This EA press conference, sorry to say, is crucially imperative. Not a lot of Ubisoft fans out there. Not a lot of people who self-identify as just, yeah, look what Ubisoft does. Oh, they're really cool guys. However, Ubisoft has fun at E3. Ubisoft is, they traditionally get a host, a comedian capable of hosting a show for E3 instead of just shoving their CEOs up there. Just like, oh, host the show. No, they get Aisha Tyler. Hopefully she's there again. It's fun. They make it fun. Also, Ubisoft cares about its trailers. Despite what the games end up being, the trailers themselves are sometimes artful, but usually just good, just communicating messages. Ubisoft cares about its show, so it is at the very least worth watching for its entertainment value. That's why this gets a rating of, crucially, imperative. 6 p.m. LA is cooling off. The sun gets orange over Los Angeles. It's now time for the Sony press conference. It could go two ways. 2 years ago, Sony had its best press conference maybe of all time. It just felt like, wow, they get it. Jack Tritton's killing right now. Last year was just okay, at best. And I think honestly that's because the remainder of Sony's 2014 was just okay. It was a just okay year. This year, again, that can't happen. Well, maybe it can. I gotta believe. After Uncharted gets pushed out of the year, after Ratchet & Clank gets pushed out of the year, Sony Computer Entertainment will have something in this fall. Maybe it's No Man's Sky. Maybe it's The Last Guardian. Think to yourself, honestly think to yourself right now, years from now, when someone asks you, where were you when The Last Guardian was announced for the second time? How do you want to answer that question? That's right. Sony's press conference is crucially imperative. Tuesday morning. Oh, we wake up. Oh my gosh. There was so much hype yesterday. What time is it? Oh, it's time for Nintendo's digital event at 9 a.m. The digital event is easy to ignore probably. You're probably like, oh, okay, this is the one I can skip. Don't do that. Last year, I said this was the best show of E3, Nintendo's digital event. I stand by that. I think it's the best produced, I think it's the best paced, it's the best directed. It is a good show. It's not long. It was around 45 minutes last year. It'll probably be the same this year. And it's just interesting. They took Yoshi's Woolly World and sat its directors and developers in front of a bunch of yarn and then interviewed them, and it all looked good. It was just like interesting. So even if you don't like Nintendo, and based off the comments of this very show, I know that many of you do not, I still think this show is incredibly worth watching. It's worth giving Nintendo this 45-minute block for the rest of the year. And I'm afraid I gotta throw you a wild card here. This event is crucially imperative. Minutes later, minutes after Nintendo ends, who's up next? Square Enix. Who? Square Enix. That's right, you heard that. It is 10 a.m. Tuesday morning. Square Enix is having its own press event, live in front of a studio audience. Why? Square Enix has been a big publisher for a long time. Konami used to do E3 press conferences. Back then, Square Enix said, seems kind of pricey. We don't have enough megatons. We'll sit this one out. Why are they doing it this year? I mean, I blame the internet. I think the internet is to blame. I blame Twitch. I blame Twitter. The fact is, I think E3 is more useful now as an attention magnet than it's ever been, and that makes me very excited. What do you think of like Square Enix? All the games they can announce. I mean, okay, so Tomb Raider will probably be big at Microsoft's event, so maybe not that, but Deus Ex, Mankind Dividend, sure, that'll be there. Just Cause 3, count on it. Hitman, probably. They've been teasing that for a long time. But even besides those things, think of the power of Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts at E3. Their hype levels are different. You know, the best Hitman trailer in the world would still be beneath the worst Kingdom Hearts trailer for some reason. It's Kingdom Hearts represents hype. Square Enix, let me just tell you how to win E3. It's very simple. It's Buzz and Woody. They're rendered beautifully. Oh my gosh, what is this game? But why do they look a little concerned? Buzz turns over to Woody and says, who are these new toys? The camera slowly spins around 180 degrees. Oh, those toys? That's just some freaking sweet toy versions of Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Title, maybe like 2017. The fraction of a percentage of a chance of that happening means the Square Enix press conference gets a rating of crucially imperative. Lastly, this is a weird one. Tuesday night, 5 p.m. By the way, this is before the E3 show floor is even closed, but come on over, everybody. AMD presents PC Gaming Show at E3. What is this? Great question. We know very little about this. This is also something that hasn't existed before. Here's what we do know. It'll be hosted by Sean Day9 Plot, who's a StarCraft 2 commentator. At least somebody who can like host a show. Will feature new game reveals, updates on beloved series, and perspectives from key PC developers. Here's a list of the speakers. This is going to be 3 hours long. Okay. Bethesda, I said, would be all killer, no filler. PC, yeah, great. There's no chance that 3 hours is gonna be all killer, no filler. There's gonna be, to me, this show has the greatest potential to be a total poop show. It just has this great chance of just being, whoa, this sucks. But it'll also have highs. If there's announcements there, there'll be huge announcements. But one of the things I love E3 for the most is those lows. You love the stinkers. You love a good poop show. And that is why this press conference gets a rating of crucially imperative. That is everything. That is all the shows this week. So I hope that this resource will help you make an educated decision on which to catch and which to ditch, which to not watch and which to watch. Obviously you should watch them all. If you're stuck at work, maybe try to like listen to it, like put in an earbud. I think they're worth listening to. Maybe your data plan doesn't allow it. I don't know. Work out a system of signals with another friend at work who's closer to a computer and just, gosh, I feel bad. If you can't watch all of these, I do feel bad because they're so fun. It is just such a fun time. I love E3. I can't wait for it. Before I go this week, I have a lot of corrections to make. Last week's episode, kind of a mess. For the first time in Final Bosman history, we're gonna need the corrections music. Please begin that. Okay, first of all, here's what my computer, my trusty little writing computer, it's a small little netbook. I freaking love this thing. Crashed for the first time in 100 episodes last week. I lost the script completely. It is gone. No autosave. It is just gone. And so I went to my desk and I grabbed episode 98 and put it on this desk. So, I guess so like you wouldn't think that anything was wrong. A week later, I realized that is insane. And so I feel really weird about that. That's just the tip of it. I spelled disinterest wrong. Disinterest is the word I meant to use. More importantly, I had a lot of misinformation about transferring your save files of Animal Crossing and Pokemon onto a new 3DS. Oh, this was wildly inaccurate. You absolutely can do that. You can transfer your Animal Crossing town and your Pokemon save file onto a new 3DS. You just cannot back up the save file. And so what happened was, I was getting ready to transfer. I was backing up my save files, and it said I couldn't. You can't back up your Animal Crossing save file. And so I shrugged my shoulders and said, oh, okay, I guess that must be it. Guess I shouldn't bother transferring my game data. That is wrong. You should transfer your game data. In the end, it is my fault that I destroyed those worlds, and I am the monster. I am the monster. I'm the monster. Also, I got a lot of comments about nose touching. There was a lot of controversy here. A lot of people jumped on it, but then a lot of people also didn't agree with it. And so I'm gonna have to defer to nose touching expert Matrix with an 8, who said, his finger did not make contact with his nose. The cheek moved to the nose, not the finger. Rule states it must make contact and move, so it doesn't count. I gotta say, Matrix might be a little biased here, but whatever, we'll roll with it. I did break a rule, however. As commenter OGLI, that's gonna be a tough one, points out, You talk about Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and how they kind of did an unconventional thing. I haven't played Pokemon in a long time and have no idea if this feature has changed, but I'm pretty sure this should be in the present tense. Yes, you are right. There is a rule on this show that when possible, I shall talk about video games in the present tense. And I get called on this a few times. Most of the time I rationalize it like, oh yeah, it kind of makes sense for me to talk about past tense. In this case, it does not. And so, OGLI? Ojli? Mowgli? Like Mowgli? Ojli? You are now on the board. Let's put you over here, man. Let's put it right here. We need people over here. But it's gonna have to be like, there's like a guardrail there. Okay. All right. So you're checking out the spaceship from here. Congratulations are in order, I suppose. Also, that thing I was... That thing that I was corrected on, also an inaccuracy. I said that you cannot transfer Pokemon back from Omega Ruby. You absolutely can. There's a mere handful of Pokemon who can't be transferred back. These are some Mega Pokemon who are new, like Mega Beedrill, and your costumes for your Pikachu who's wearing a wrestling costume. End corrections music. That was episode 100. How did I goof it up so bad? Ah well, you know what, as long as you set things right. I like to correct my mistakes. I like to own up to it, and I like to set things straight. That's the final Bosman way. That is the episode for this week. By the way, if you're on Twitter, you can find me at Kyle Bosman. I'll be back here next Wednesday for E3 do's and don'ts. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Hi everybody. Let me tell you a little story. At the beginning of every week, we have a big meeting, everybody at GameTrailers, and we talk about what we can do Just Playeds on. Just Played is, of course, a GameTrailers show in which we talk about a game we've just played. You know, just like kind of preview coverage, but also you can, if you played an old game, you can talk about that. It's covering games. It's a very fun show. I raised my hand, I said, I've just played The Misadventures of Tron, and Daniel Bloodworth looks at his little notepad and says, that'll have to wait. Crestfallen, I determined that I should, you know what, take this into my own hands. And that is why, defiantly, I'm shooting my own Just Played on my own show. Here it is, the Just Played for The Misadventures of Tron. So Kyle, tell me what The Misadventures of Tron is. It's a game I've been really excited to play and try. It's extremely expensive on eBay. So I was honestly, like months before it finally came to PSN, I think last week or the week before, it cost like $200. And I was honestly legitimately thinking about buying it because I love Mega Man Legends so much. That's a little crazy. Yeah, I obviously didn't do it, but like maybe if I had like a bigger tax return or something. Anyway, oh my gosh, the opportunity to play this game it feels like an opportunity. Do you know what I mean? It feels like I get to play this game, and it makes it feel so special. I love the style of Mega Man Legends. It's low poly, right? But like it's like pixel art on top of polygons. It just looks gorgeous. And what this game is, it's like 4 games in one. Like 4 mini games in one? No. It's like, so I'll just explain it to you. It's like mission structure. And some of the missions are like first person exploring a cave. Some of them are just, they're adventures. Some of them are strictly action. And then one of them is puzzle. You're on a dock doing puzzles. Okay, so that one sucks, right? No, that one's actually very fun, and then it gets actually pretty hard. But what I freaking love about this, Kyle, is that you get to choose what you want to do. You're like leveling up your different, they're like minions. They're called servbots. And, oh yeah, those are the things in Dead Rising, right? That's where I know servbots from. Yeah, I get it. You didn't play Mega Man Legends, any of them. It's fine. A lot of people didn't. I swear they're all super good. Anyway, I do, and I like the characters a lot. Everything's really good in this game. But what I love is that I get to choose which missions I do, and that there's no... Here's a weird thing I love about this game, and I'll end with this. There's no reward for doing everything, so it's actually a genuine freedom of picking which missions you want to do. If you don't like the puzzles, you don't have to do them. You get to pick which aspects of this game you like the most. And I think that's extremely rare. And everything about this game is just so good. It's just got a vibe. I think it got ignored because it came out after the PlayStation 2. So did Mega Man Legends 2. They came out like months before Legends 2. This poor game, so ignored. And I just feel like I'm just so happy to finally be able to give it a chance. I gotta say, this was a lot more boring than a Disney Infinity just played. Sorry, Kyle. This one's cut.
Keep it up! We need to get